We have with us, for the audience, we have with us Kunal Gupta Bhaiya. He graduated in 2015 from IIT Indore and had worked in Trilogy, that is CodeNation, as an SDE, and is presently founding engineer in AsknBid Tech. Then we also have with us Vineet Shah Bhaiya. He is an SDE at Google and had also graduated with him in 2015. Other than this, we have Vishnu Bhaiya, who is SD at Google and graduated from 20, from IIT Indore in 2017, and he had been a GSOC intern during his first 2 years and had also been a GSOC mentor. Other than that, we have with us Sarthak Bhaiya as well. He is also in Google at Dublin, and he had brought us various trophies through Seesaw. And I hope we should start. We have many questions for you, Bhaiya, and I'll start one by one by asking you the questions, and you can respond to them. And first of them is from Nilanshu Garg Bhaiya, and he asks that how's your experience in Google? Any of you can answer that.
Vishnu or Sarthak, are you guys taking this one?
You can start, I guess. You're the most senior person from Google here.
Uh-huh.
We can take turns. Vineet, how about you go ahead first?
Sure. Yeah. By the way, there are a lot of. I graduated in 2019 too, not 2015. And I guess with Vishnu also and Sarthak, they graduated in 21 and 22, I guess. Uh, yeah. So coming back to the question, working at Google. So yeah, it's been what, around 2.5 years, and I mean, obviously the experience is quite different from. I mean, it is great, obviously, but so that a lot of it is quite internal. So me trying to, um, so it's kind of like you take a small area. I mean, since Google has a lot of impact, so you take a very small chunk of work, but you get to, uh, I mean, since the application is huge, you learn a lot of things. It's kind of like it's a well organized setup, and you try to think, oh, why are things going the way they are, uh, and that's why uh, it's more of like every day you get to learn a lot of new things. So it's quite good that way. Maybe Vishnu or Sarthak, you can take it further.
Vishnu Bhaiya, go ahead. You can go ahead.
Um, yeah, can you hear me? I guess so. Cool. So for me, like I haven't worked anywhere else other than Google. Like I had a small, like I worked at CodeNation for a small time, so I can only compare with that. Um, if you're comparing with that, like Google is a lot slower compared to other companies. Like if you're going for a smaller company, like velocity is something that you will enjoy quite a bit. Google will be a bit slower, but the thing is, there are so many things to choose from at Google, because it's a big company, because there are so many a huge variety of teams. So specifically for me, if I'm talking from my case, like I liked security, so I ended up with a team which is like very security oriented, but still does a lot of coding. Like we are a product, but we are very security based as well. Like so that's something I liked, and it's I don't think there are a lot of other companies where you can, like, find a niche and actually get a team for that niche as well. Also, some other things are like the perks are obviously amazing. Also, after a year, you can switch teams very freely. Right now in this economy, maybe not so much, but theoretically, you can switch teams after a year freely. And we have like this portal where all the jobs are posted, so you can go and switch like look for, search for teams that you enjoy. These things are not really possible in smaller companies, so that would be my like biggest perk that I would highlight working in a bigger company. This is the same for all the big fangs, by the way, like not just Google, like Google, uh, Facebook, Amazon, not so much, but kind of Amazon as well. So I guess like it's more of a big company versus small company, but these are the things that I found the most interesting.
Thank you, Bia. Next, from your question, from your response, let's move ahead to similar questions. Like one of the juniors, Ayush Avasthi from first year asks, "Do all software engineers have a fear of getting laid off back of their minds?"
Uh, so I'll take this just to interrupt the flow of questions. Like like right now, as you know, like a lot of firing. This isn't recorded or anything, right? Okay, cool. No, it's not. Like obviously the economy is pretty bad,
Yes,
so
it is being recorded.
it is being recorded. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should mind my words. So uh, the economy isn't doing great, so there is quite a bit of firing right now. So this wasn't like, so right now, yeah, maybe a lot of software engineers do have this, like, I guess, fear that, yeah, you like your job isn't as safe as it used to be, but it will be a temporary thing. Like right now we are going through like a crazy economy, so it's just like that. Something I just wanted to point out was like we've done this alumni meet, like we've organized this alumni meets as well in the past. It would be great if you could like ask the questions that would be useful for the students first, and then get to like the fun stuff, uh, because I think like the end goal of us being here is that you guys get the value out of it, right? Like we can have a fun chat, that's all good, but if there are questions that are more about the like how the prep goes, or which I think like Kunal and Vineet can and Sarthak can give a lot of insights as well. So questions like that would be more useful, I believe, than
Sure,
fun
Bia.
questions, which we can obviously come to after we are done.
And then we go on to our next questions, and it is about foreign jobs. That can we achieve the same level of success in SD jobs while remaining in India instead of going in the foreign countries? This is the question asked by Mihir Patel from second year.
So what do you like define as success? So do you mean uh like the promotion cycles would be equally faster, or I mean the growth in these roles? Do you mean success like that way? Is Mihir on this call?
Yeah, Mihir is here.
Yeah.
हाँ भैया, I just wanted to ask that is that the same opportunity did we get in India also, like we get in the foreign countries, mostly from the placement point of view?
Um, yeah, I mean, so I personally I haven't felt like the growth wise it should be same. It also depends. So you need to choose the company and the team wisely a bit. A lot of times teams it's choosing the team is not in your hand, but so there are equally fast-paced startups both in India and abroad. So that way, I think you should not be restricting yourself to any one particular location. And same holds true. I mean, so not just India. If you would like to compare it with the states, the US, so it's kind of like the you get fast-paced teams everywhere.
I agree with Vineet. I don't think the at least at Google, like Google India versus Google anywhere else, there isn't really a difference in the kinds of projects you get. You can get amazing projects anywhere, and you can get bad projects anywhere. So uh, at least for bigger companies, I don't think there is a difference. If you want to be more specific about like how you define success, maybe maybe we can give more insight. But like as a career choice, I don't think it really matters. There used to be, I think, earlier there used to be like, I've heard this thing going around where like people say your experience in India isn't really valued elsewhere. I don't think that's true. If you can nail the interview and you can explain what you put on your resume, it's the same as everywhere else.
That's onto that. I have some friends who are actually in sync with some teams in India and some teams in US as well, like working on the same projects and doing same things as we are doing in Dublin. So it's not something that really matters, like the location itself for your work. It depends on your team mostly.
So we'll go on to the next question then, and that is asked by PC Uma Mahesh from first year. He wants to ask that in particular, what was the role of the student clubs, technical and or cultural, at IITI towards your own personality and career, and how it shaped your personality? Maybe Kunal Bhaiya has been silent for some time, could answer that.
Hi. So it's a bit different for me. I actually joined the club very late, uh, but I had a lot of good interaction with my peers and uh, all the cybersecurity part of things. If I talk about that, I think that led to finally, having a separate place in the club, and I think that helped others after me. And but it also, helped me, you know, get acquainted with having responsibility, because I joined in late, so I was of a had like worked as a senior here in programming club itself. I was not in the initial years. So it did help me to, you know, in the organization part of thing, the POR part of thing. It was, I think, fine. A better answer maybe Vineet could give here, because I think he was there from the start.
Yeah, I mean, so I can, so now I can kind of relate it back. So what I joined as a very I joined in the beginning of second year, I guess, and then I was there with the club till fourth year, and I started in the beginning with just setting problems, and then having the contest, and then I was in the third year, I had the heuristic. I mean, we conducted the heuristic as well. So now that I look back, it started like you start building responsibility, and you do it on your own, and it kind of, now I can see it. I can correlate those stuff here in my last 3 years at Google as well. So it's kind of like you start in the beginning with a very small part, and you kind of start owning areas nearby, and you start kind of leading the team. So it's a well precursor to what's going to happen with you in the corporate life. So yeah, it was pretty great. You kind of know where to build the relations and how to get things done, and it's more of a like you can say uh it's a very good experience to have, like, so that it'll prepare you better.
Thank you, Bia. We move on to the next question. That is from the people who are not from the CSE branches. That is, who are from the core branches, and they ask like how they can manage both the core and non-core stuff, and what are the jobs available for such students who are from, like, for example, mechanical, electrical, in the non-core part. So any suggestions for them?
I think all four of us are from were from CS batch itself. So I mean, mostly none of us can give first-hand experience, but all of us had friends who we see did it. Uh, did the projects part very well with the the courses. So maybe if Vishnu or Sarthak or Kunal, you have some examples, you can.
The good thing with IIT is that you get a lot of free time. I think that would allow you to, explore the other niches and other uh, the branches as well. Let's say if you're a mechanical person and if you want to try out programming and would like a job in that field, I think what our college offers is a lot of free time to uh, learn those things and basically get better at it, even with respect to maybe some of your peers in computer science. So I don't think that it would be a big challenge. It would be a little bit of a challenge, but yes, it should be conquerable. Like I have friends who are there from other branches, and they are doing well in life right now.
And add a bit to that. I
Agree
have
with.
friends who are in. Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead. No worries.
Okay. I have friends who were in electrical and who are doing pretty good in CS at least. One of them is in Japan right now working for Rakuten, and two of them are in US pursuing masters actually in computer science. So I mean, if you can balance out the time, like focusing a bit on computer science, I think you can make it worth it. And you don't really have to stress about it that you have to do two courses altogether. If you go with the pace and do things, I think should be fine.
Yeah, I agree with what Sarthak and Kunal said. Basically, the computer science courses, like the courses we do, are not related to the job at all. So most of the learning I've done, and I think Kunal, Vineet, and Sarthak will agree with me when I say most of the things we know came from the extra learning that we did outside of the courses. Like the courses obviously helped a bit, but most of the things are very theoretical, very like computer sciencey. While the actual job you do is a lot of computer engineering, like software engineering. So these are things that you can easily pick up through projects. Then the interviews, for the interviews you can do a little bit of like problem solving and algorithmic training. All these things are very easy and you don't need a lot of time. I think like if you can easily go from uh, not knowing programming to really good in like a year of spending a couple of hours every day, which you more than get at an IIT, like Kunal said, because you have a ton of free time. You can enjoy life as much as you want and still like dedicate an hour or two, and you'll get there. So yeah, I think just like be dedicated is my advice to non-core for everyone. Basically, if you want to be successful at life, be dedicated.
The next question comes from the MS students and those who are in MTech or so, and they want to ask that are there any suggestions for MS students who are in CSE? Can you tell something for them in the perspective of placements and such?
I don't think I have much context on this, to be honest. So I'm not the best person to take this.
Yeah,
There are some companies that come for both MTech, right? MS or MTech?
The email
MS.
ID says MS.
yeah. I don't think we have taken CS, do we?
Yeah,
I think it
MS
was
in
changed to
CS.
MS. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when we were leaving, I mean, when me and Kunal are leaving, there was this MS first year, I guess. So, uh, not much idea there about their placements.
About off campus, I think it should be same as us. Like, not. I don't think there is much to add there. Like, I'm just looking at this from a job description perspective. That's it.
So we'll move on to the next question then, and it comes uh, from the point of view of research versus taking placements. That is going for an MS in foreign universities versus taking placement in your fourth year. So any views on that?
I can take that up a bit. So it really depends on your interest, to be honest. So for me, I didn't have any specific interest in like a certain field. So I went for placement. I was not really the best person for research. And for my friends, I think the best way to explain is they were into certain fields. Like one of my friends was into machine learning and AI, so he went for a machine learning specification in US masters, and then he like his aim was to basically get a job in in AI field. So it really depends on your interests. Um, I don't have much more
Yeah,
context on this. I mean,
yeah, I can add. So I applied for MS uh, last year. So I would like to clear one thing here. So this is after the first hand experience. So I had a chat with a lot of folks, and the question here that should you do research or I think job after after the college. So the very basic misconception is that if you do an MS, you'll do research. So you get to do very minimal research in MS, and people normally do an MS so that they can choose a specialization and get into some specialized roles. If you say if you do an MS from for a foreign university, it's not really for the research. You would most likely do uh, half a semester or maximum one semester like you did in college, the BTP one, and that's mostly it. So if really you want to do research, maybe PhD would be the better way to go. But yeah, so coming back to the main point, like why to do an MS, it's mostly to get into so like Vishnu mentioned that, like Sarthak mentioned that you can do an AIML specific course and then get into some machine learning role, or you can choose. So one of my batchmates, he's chosen computing, and another one has chosen proper core maths. So it really depends on what you want, what kind of job you want uh, after the masters.
and I think it also sets a small track for like people who want to do research, like do PhDs and
Yeah,
pursue research
and
while
it
they're.
definitely adds that a lot of these colleges do provide an option of continuing for PhD. So
Yep.
if you want to carry it further, that's there. But just doing an MS would not be a lot of research. Is just what I wanted to clarify.
So as we talked about AI and ML, and uh, we have our next question regarding machine learning, and he is Gaurav Mahindrakar from second year. He asked that how relevant are other skills like machine learning for placements? Like usually companies come here and we are in CP or in development.
Yeah.
We talk about, but how? So the question here is, how about ML?
I'll take this. I think the reality of placements and the reality of companies hiring is just that a lot of the process revolves around uh, algorithmic questions, and this is just a sad fact, right? Like you can't say, like, even I don't like competitive programming that much, but you can't say like it's just how it is. So yes, ML would be useful. It would be good to have ML on your resume if you want to go for an ML job. 100%, you need to have I'd say you need to have a couple of ML projects or ML like if you publish a research paper, it would be amazing. Like you can contact the professors and you can see how that would work out. But at the end of the day, a lot of companies still ask algorithmic questions on top of whatever ML questions they ask. Like even if it's like a pure like ML or AI startup, they'll still ask you a couple of easy algorithmic questions. You don't need to be like a pro competitive programmer, but you'll still need to know you still need to understand like the basics of algorithms and how to problem solve. And then they'll have ML related questions as well. Like that's what I think I've seen in most interviews or companies. So to answer your questions, do not ignore like the algorithmic side of or problem solving side of programming. Even like just by saying like, yeah, I am interested in ML. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Add maybe a bit. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so I would like to add here that the base fact is that almost I think all the companies which come to our campus do come for software engineering roles, and software engineering by definition does not like include a specialization of any aspect, be it machine learning. So it's you cannot expect it to help during interviews or as such that you know ML and you would be better suited for some role, but it's kind of like if you have done a project in machine learning, it's still a project and you can definitely discuss it during some of the rounds. So in that way it's good, but since it's a software engineering job, you need to have uh, the algorithmic skills. And yeah. So that's just the interview side of things. I mean, learning machine learning would definitely help. So once you start your job and you most of these companies have machine learning roles, and it's just that you need to once you have certain projects on your name, it kind of makes easier for you to make a case that you want to switch to machine learning engineering role. So in our college, normally it's mostly software engineering roles which come.
I can add a bit to the non-machine learning part. So, since I was into a bit into security and like having a good experience in security can actually land you interviews off campus. So, I got an interview from one of the fintechs in London for security, and I mean I couldn't pass the interview, but it was really. Am I the only one who was hearing the noise?
Yeah, I think no, it's fine now.
So I landed an interview in security interview in one of the firms in London, and I mean I didn't get through it, but it was a good experience. At least you could see that your skills are being recognized by the companies, and so if you have a good experience in those fields, I think it can also help you with at least starting with jobs, like starting with things off campus. Yeah, it can land you things.
Thank you, Bia. And a little specific to GSOC, here is another question, that is how to write a GSOC proposal. As I have started contributing late, should I focus more on contributing or on writing the proposal?
So this would be answering this question would be quite hard in the time span we have. Like like it's very hard. Like this is a very subjective answer. You need to have a good proposal, but you need to build rapport with your mentors and with your org like the organizers of the organization. So it would, I think maybe programming club can arrange a talk on GSOC maybe soon. Like when we were in college, we used to do it every year. I'm not sure if we do that anymore or not.
Yeah,
But
we had that, Bia. We
okay,
had that
so
then already.
okay, great. So if the person who asked this question is on the call, maybe they can like clarify the thing a bit more. But what I would say is you do need to have contributions to the team, to the organization. If there are no contributions and you just write a proposal, there is no way that you're getting selected. There will be someone else who has done the groundwork for it, and they will get selected. So you need to build a good working relationship with your mentors before you start writing the proposal. But some organizations don't work like that. They ask you to write the proposal at first. I think Mozilla does that, where they'll give you a bunch of projects, and then you basically have to, if you like give send a couple of pull requests to whatever that part is, and then you have to write a proposal instead of like talking to the mentors directly. uh, it varies organization by organization, but you need to have some contributions at least to the organization, and have a working relationship with your mentors.
Sarthak Bhai, would you like to add to that?
As someone who got rejected in visa for 2 times, yeah, maybe. So, I mean, it's okay. It's not good to start late, but even if you're starting late, I think the best way, as Vishnu we explained, that you you need a very good deep dive into the technologies, and you need like a thorough research of the proposal that you're preparing. So if you're starting late, I think the best way to go ahead with the proposal is at least get through the project more than focusing on the proposal, so that even if you don't make it this year, you can make it next year. Like, but just don't do things from like overhead things. Go deep into things and try to understand things better, so that you can put everything in the proposal instead of just broad overview of different concepts that you think.
So we'll now go on to some questions which are centric from the perspectives of juniors. And one of them is, can you give us some tips that you think we should apply in our early stage of our college years, which is typically related to jobs?
Can you repeat the question once? Did not get it.
Uh, I repeat it. Can you give us some tips that you think we should apply in our early stage of our college years, typically related to jobs?
I think the question is like, what would help me with my career uh, if I started learning that in my first year? If I'm rephrasing
Yeah,
it like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And if I were to answer that, I would say don't focus on your career in college, at least for the first 2 years. Explore whatever you can, explore everything that's in college, including extracurricular activities, including technical things, including your studies, and see what you like. And then in the later 2 years, you can go deeper into whatever you like. Uh, at least that's my opinion. Maybe someone else has a different opinion.
Just at least do a little bit of competitive programming on the side, the DSA part, a little bit of it on the side. Like maybe give a contest every month. As simple as that. Just be fresh enough.
Plus
So
one,
a very yeah. Would you like to
yeah.
add it to Bia?
Just was saying that I think I agree with Vishnu Bhaiya's approach and also Kunal Bhaiya's. You can you should do a bit of DSA, but in the first 2 years at least, you should focus on building different skills, like learning different things, exploring different things. Yeah, and not even software engineering, including everything in like exploring curricular activities, or I don't know. From my personal experience, I used to play a lot of games. Like, I mean, it doesn't count as exploring, but still it was something new to me. So you don't really have to stress about jobs when you're in first or second year, like not that much, to be honest.
Another similar question to that is from first year student Aviril Sharma, that what's the most optimal way to balance between regular courses and skill development or extracurriculars?
I'd have given a better insight if this meet was not recorded.
I totally forgot that. But yeah, I mean, so with our college, it's kind of very easy. I mean, easy in the easier in the aspect that most of the syllabus you can cover it, if not last 2 3 days, maybe last week. Um, so it's kind of like you mostly get free time. So it's, I mean, if you don't lose sleep, it's very it's easy to just in the normal days not lose your sleep over courses and still be fine in the end. So so I would suggest that maybe uh I mean every day you can give at least couple of hours if I mean that's the minimum, and you should be good to go without affecting your courses.
The next question we have is regarding internships, and one of the first year Debashish Padhe asks how to find good internship opportunities over the summer and make the best out of it, because internship opportunities usually we get in the third year,
Mhm.
that is or in the start of the third year. So what about the first 2 years?
Uh,
Man, I mean, it's a bit of centric approach for me. Like it's too specific for me, but I was literally not the person who wanted to go for an internship in starting years. Like uh, focusing a bit on learning rather than going for internships was, I think, what I used to think more. Like, I mean, the internship doesn't count GSOC and other like things that you do on your own. But I mean, it's too centric to me, so I can't really comment on that.
Yeah, especially in the first 2 years, I think it's okay. I mean, you don't have to be a lot of into all this. Just see what interests you. At least, firstly, know what interests you. That is more important. You should at least, before thinking of, okay, I can land a job there, I can land a job there, it's better to at least know what you like in life first. So, a lot of time should be spent in exploring.
Yeah, and I would like to suggest here maybe you can also try some I mean you can try activities without being biased about anything, like I mean maybe like that, given that maybe algo I mean just giving contests or doing CP, uh, just don't you don't need to push for it. You can try out other stuff, because normally internships and everything in the end you will eventually land one, so might as well do things without the pressure of jobs. In the first 2 years you get a lot of time. In the last probably in your fourth sem you can try to be a bit more specific about internships, but before that it's very important to be unbiased and just do whatever like you like.
Thank you, Bia. And the next question we have is, what are some tasks or achievements in the first and second year that ensures good placements?
Good projects, I think that's uh you so achievements wise it's very person dependent, like how much they want to stretch for it, but having a couple of good projects is a must, both for third year and fourth year. So that you have some things to discuss in the interview. I mean, I have seen people with. I mean, it's okay to not have very have a list of achievements. That's perfectly fine. I mean, uh, normally companies don't expect that, but having good project and you being able to explain that perfectly, it's the most important.
Another student asks that could you give some tips for getting off-campus placements?
Tips as in like this is like a too broad thing.
Vedant Dinkar has asked this question and he is here. So Vedant, could you elaborate on your question?
Like I wanted to ask, in what aspects we need to apply, what factors do we need to consider, like what companies are better in some branches, like.
For me, it was just applying to every opening I could see off campus and waiting for the response. Like, and if you want to increase your chances of getting selected or like screened, I mean, it's better. It's good to have good projects, as Vineet said. Like having good projects on your resume and having good skills in your resume, like the things you have explored in university, like the knowledge you have is, I think, good to. You don't need to have things overachieved. I mean, it there might be a condition for having very good achievements for some companies, but not all, to be honest. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So another very similar question regarding placements, and then we will move on to the next topic, is how do we prepare for placements interviews? Can you elaborate on your experience in the placement interviews? Like, even me personally, during my internship interviews, I was rejected 4 times. So maybe some, is there any way we can have a good first hand experience and get selected?
I think for interviews, so personally, I've not done a lot of interviews, uh, mostly because I wasn't really concentrating on competitive programming a lot. So I couldn't clear a lot of programming rounds. So just a tip, uh, focus at least a bit. You don't need to be the god of anything. Just a bit on algorithmic stuff. And regarding interviews, I think what helped me quite a bit are mock interviews. Mock interviews will help you build the confidence. A lot of the cases I've seen is people just panicking when they're in front of an interviewer and not being able to say communicate properly. And another thing is they know everything and they expect the interviewer to know everything as well. The interviewer may know everything, but they want you to explain the whole thing. So things like this you'll only understand when you do mock interviews. I think when I was doing it, there was this site called Pramp, I think, where you could do uh, free mock interviews. You basically mock interview with someone else, and it was a really cool site, and it helped me quite a bit. I probably did like 10 mock interviews, 10, 15 mock interviews there, and it really helped me for my interviews. So that would be my one, like big tip. Otherwise, like if you can't find Pramp, or if Pramp doesn't exist anymore, you can ask for um, maybe your seniors to give you mock interviews. The fourth year people, they should be pretty jobless. So yeah.
Another thing I've noticed in interviews is that you should be confident about what you're speaking because the interviewer already knows what you're speaking. So don't don't try to make things up during the interview if you don't have a good knowledge of the concepts. This is something that happened to me. I was trying to make up things during one of my interviews, and the interviewer was too straightforward, and so he literally asked me, "Have you even prepared for the interview or not?" So, and the second thing is be confident in uh, what you're speaking. Basically, faking confidence. So even if like you should be confident that your approach is correct, and even if the interviewer says that your approach is not, and you're confident enough that you're doing it right, you should be the one who is confident about the approach, and you should correct the interviewer. I mean, sounds too fascinating, but yeah.
So now I would like to deviate a little from this topic and ask you a question in which I want you to pour your hearts into, and that is, how was your college life? And maybe we should start in the descending order. We can start with Kunal Bhaiya and Vineet Bhaiya first.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible,
Yeah.
Bhaiya.
Yeah. Vineet, would you like to start taking this one? You are in descending order first.
I mean, this is like extremely open-ended. I mean, 4 years. So how was it? I mean, uh, I don't know how to sum it up. It was great. I mean, you do a lot of stuff and without the fear of uh, working the next day. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was great. Uh, Maybe Kunal or Vishnu can have a better shot.
I think it was very interesting, especially the kind of bonds that I formed over time and the kind of peers that I got. I feel that I was very, uh, I feel good with the kind of, people that I have been around during my college days. And those people are still there. I mean, the kind of bonds that you make here, I think uh, you can say that they will be very strong and they should last quite long.
I
Vineet
agree
Bhaiya?
with what Kunal said. Given this is a recorded meeting, I don't think I can go into specific details. But yeah, it was fun, and a lot of the bonds you um, make in college, they stay with you. Then and you also you there is like a lot of free time. You discover what you are during college, I feel. Um, yeah, that's it. Just enjoy life, guys.
uh, I lost 2 of my college years in COVID, so the first 2 years were amazing. Again, the bonds I formed, and I mean, the best thing about college life is you don't understand how fun it is until you're over. So until it's over. So uh, I mean, working seems fun. Working at Google or working at like company seems fun. Like you're working, you're learning new things, but it's not really that fun because you're not independent enough. Just like you're in college. So yeah, enjoy the time you have.
The next question is regarding coding, and we have Vashish Chaturvedi from first year who asked this question, that how did you set up a good foundation in coding? And more importantly, how did you grow upon that? Because it seems much more a tough task. Uh, was I audible before?
Yeah. I mean, the advice I have is never skip basics. You might think that the basics are okay, like you want to go to advanced stuff more, but skipping the basics, but you should really not. And once you have like good foundation and good understanding of, at least, I mean, you should have a even good understanding of how a for loop works is first, before going into complex implementations of algorithms. So if you have like a good understanding of all the basics of programming, like why programming, how does programming work, and why is it needed and all, and specific instructions and stuff, so then it will seem like an easy task to move forward. Like there is a steep learning curve in the beginning, but then it flattens a lot. So yeah.
So another big question for the first years is the weightage of CPI for the placements. So would anyone of you like to suggest about or make a comment about CPI here?
I think 8.5 is okay. I mean, a lot of times people might say that it does not matter. It does not matter once you are screened, like once you pass the screening. But a lot of time companies, they have this constraint that this should be your CPI. And after that, it does not matter. I agree with that. But having a good enough CPI, it allows you to pass those screening rounds, which do not depend upon your other caliber, but only because of the number that you get in your report card every semester. I think 8.5 is a good enough number, 8 or 8.5. But I think achieving a good CPI, an okay CPI is not that difficult here in our college. You get a lot of free time and you can explore things as well as, you know, get a good enough grade.
Same, I think 8 and above 8 was fine for us, for like our batch mostly.
So the next question is that since you are from within the industry, could you tell more about the emerging fields? Like for here we have sure chat GPT around us, which has helped us a lot as students in writing our assignments. So can you tell the emerging fields which would help us in the near future?
I mean, I know it for a fact that that large language models, the one you mentioned. So all the major companies have started investing. I mean, started having teams around that LLMs. And I mean, I work on a team which works on LLM as well. So that's one field. But yeah, I'm still thinking about what maybe Vishnu or Sarthak, you or Kunal, you guys have
On
about it.
that, if I remember correctly, recently even Google came out with, I think, a white paper regarding music generation from prompts, if I am not wrong. I think they utilized Lambda there, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
pretty cool to see the results. Just give it a prompt, and it will generate that music for you.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but I need to drop out of the meeting. I have another meeting. So anyway, it was fun talking to you all. We can catch up sometime later. Cool. Bye bye.
Thank you, Pia, for joining. So I'll move on to the next question then. That what are the three biggest changes in the college culture and the work culture in your companies?
for me in CodeNation, it was not a lot of difference. The culture was very, very similar to college itself. The peers were mostly of my age or at max 2 or 3 years older to me. And it was pretty enjoyable. And even I think in startups, it's very similar. I cannot comment about big tech here. I don't know a lot, but I think here it seems it's fun and it's very uh, light. As in, there's not a lot of things you need to think about before saying something.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is a bit different for big tech here. So, and I mean, yeah, so coordination in general, we were around 25, just new grad folks. All of us were staying in the same hotel for 3 months, and it kind of like was exactly like college. But so when you are, I mean, with big tech, normally things changes a bit. There is normally a bit more formal talks, and there are layers involved. I would like to say that. I mean, in college you can say freely. I mean, you can say stuff freely to anyone, but with when you are in a company, you kind of have to adhere to some protocols normally, and it's not that. I mean, having a good friendship in corporate is much harder than you have in college.
The
And
next question.
just
Yes.
wanted to add that you start feeling bad waking up late when you're in corporate. That's it.
Uh-huh.
So the next question is from a second year, and he asked that since our internship season is closed, what all things should we focus on the most?
I think we've pretty much covered this thing in previous questions for now.
Yeah. So I don't think we have any more different questions other than this. The other questions are quite similar to this, and they have already been covered. So I would like to ask a question rather. Could you add something to the fields such as blockchain and Web3, which are emerging in those years, and like from the perspective of the programming club as well?
I mean, so when you mean by ad, so do you want to like know if there is any prospect there or something like that?
Yeah. Like the future of Web3 and blockchain, basically, and our future related to that.
I guess that's. I mean, I don't have much idea there, but one of your seniors, Kumar Abhinav, is working on a startup which is exactly this, like having the all the transactions, the Web3 transactions, a Facebook for all of these transactions, and it's quite a well funded, I mean, it's a good enough startup, and he was mentioning that there have been a lot of companies which are working recently on this. So that way, if you want, I mean, there are prospects, but the future of blockchain with respect to us, I guess maybe Kunal or Sarthak can answer better.
I don't have any experience with blockchain, to be
Yeah.
honest. So
No, I do not have an idea either. I've been meaning to get a hold of it, understand what it is, but I never really got the time.
I think there has been one of your seniors has recently achieved, like someone who's in college, I think they won an award for some blockchain thing. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
Niyati Didi and to
Yeah,
others.
maybe you can get them to explain things and see how they approach the whole blockchain world, I guess.
So I would like to open the stage for the others, if they would like to ask any other questions that have not been covered so far, the first year and the second years, if you would like to ask any.
Feel free to write those questions in the chat as well if you're like nervous to speak.
So by the time, I would rather ask you a question that how was the programming club at your times, and
Yeah,
what all things did you do in your tenure?
yeah. I mean, it was definitely not as evolved as what it is right now. I mean, these days I see people posting about the uh, the IITI SOC that I think that we had the first session and there were literally around 10 or 15 participants back then, and we thought that, oh, we got so many people into it, but it's very great seeing the participation these days. Uh, uh, Back then, I mean, we definitely had fewer members, and Heuristica we had just started, and I think now it has been going on for 2 years, so it feels good to see that going as well. But yeah, I remember in our first year there were very few events, and I mean it kind of grew every year. So that was something which we witnessed firsthand. What else? Anything
Yeah,
else?
this whatever you said is kind of from organizing point of view. Like
Uh,
as a club, what did you used to do
as a
as a
club?
member of club?
Uh-huh.
How do you spend your time like in club activities apart from organizing things, like, apart from management and all? Like, anything you would do as a team among the club
Remember,
members?
we used to do some contest in computer lab, that old computer lab with mosquito, like spider webs and stuff. And it used to be fun for us at least. And yeah, we used to have meetings there as well sometimes. I mean, think we had Vineet Bhai as well in the starting first year. So I mean, I can literally say that those were the best times of programming club we had, to be honest. And if I talk about the security perspective, it was fun to at least. So we went for uh, seesaw to IIT Kanpur once, four of us, and it was fun. Like apart from the contest itself, the journey was fun, and the the focus we had during that those 36 hours, I think, was actually fun, and the collaboration is good. The when you're in a club and when you do things together, you get to collaborate, and that collaboration brings knowledge to both the parties. So I think it's good to start collaborating as a club and as a team to learn things, and it'll help. It increases the pace of learning and also helps both the parties to learn things that they don't know about. So yeah.
So one of the questions in the chat box is just having basic knowledge in web dev and being good in CP good enough to get a job, to get a good job?
Well, you mentioned good everywhere, so I think it is good. uh,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is my exact state. This was my exact state.
If you're good at these things, I mean, it is good enough to get a job. You can pass the first few rounds by being good in CP, and the next project ones by having basic enough knowledge in web dev, but do have a few projects on the side, uh, which you know uh, can talk about, which you seem are interesting and which would also interest someone on the outside.
So the next question is, what kind of projects are you working on in your companies? I guess that may be confidential, but and this being recorded, you can just abstract away the main points.
I am currently working on the games part of things. I developing the next version, and I worked on herein we have since we have the whole service ownership end to end. So I initially worked on the social vertical, built it from scratch. Then I built the notification service that is used to send notifications, including these SMS push and emails to all the people using the app. And then I worked on a reward service, and I am working on games a little bit on the side, along with uh, segmentation of users. Right? The segmentation part is currently like in a planning thing. In CodeNation earlier, I mostly worked on code analysis, like all the 2.5 years are there for.
Okay, maybe I can go next. So currently I work in the Google Assistant team. So whenever you say something on Assistant, um, I mean it eventually gets converted to a function like which you let's just say that you say create an alarm. So to identify what the user wants out of this query. So my team in general works on this, like to convert what we've said into something which the computer will understand. And so there are pipelines set up for this. And so right now you guys must be knowing about TensorFlow. And so there are TensorFlow pipelines around this, and my team normally works on managing these pipelines.
Can go next. I'm working on a privacy team in Google. So we are mostly handling internal privacy tooling to keep Google compliant with privacy policies and privacy government policies. It's not something related to, like, privacy policies are not well defined in India, especially. But for if you talk about Europe and US, there are legal sanctions against companies if they breach the privacy policies. So I'm mostly working with privacy folks, lawyers, sometimes legal people, to develop basically the infrastructure to verify that everything we are doing at Google is compliant with the privacy policies. Mhm. It involves a lot of internal tooling, to be honest. So I I don't think it would make sense to talk about those. Yeah.
Thank you, Bia. And the next question is, how did you land your job abroad? Around when did you start applying, and what was the process like?
For me, I first got a grasp of data successes, especially like doing a refresh of all the data success and algorithms part, and then I started applying. I think in September or so, and meanwhile learning new things as well, like apart from data structures and stuff. So then I applied to mostly all the openings that I saw for new grads for software engineers. So and just waited for responses. And then I was involved with the security interview, so I didn't apply for that time, but later then I applied to Google, and I got a call within a week because they were hiring actively during that time.
I think the first and second year guys are in a pretty nice place right now. I think while they are, when their placements come in and they need to look for jobs, I think there should be a lot of opportunities at that point in time.
Another question we have is from Harsh Talati, second year, regarding the projects you work on. How much control do you have over which project you work on? Is it assigned to you by a supervisor or you apply to it? It's too specific.
Is it specific to BTP?
No, it's specific to the projects you work in your job.
Okay, let why does it has supervisor? But okay.
Ha-
And for me, it was more of a team matching thing. It's so I was matched with like two or three teams there, and I got to choose between those teams like which team I wanted to join. So the privacy team suited best for me because it was in close contacts with security people. So I just joined the privacy team itself. And about the work that I'm assigned, um, it's different. You you don't get assigned they don't assign the work to you. Like you can pick up tasks, you can pick up bugs, but there are some prioritization and deprioritization of things. It's more of a corporate thing where they analyze between what is the best thing to work on, and then you're being assigned. I think for me it's my manager who helps me a lot in doing that. So yeah. Maybe Kunal, we can add on this regarding some startup things. Like since you
Yeah,
mentioned that you
for
are
me, it is mostly end-to-end ownership. I come to the second question first, and then come back to the first question. Is it assigned to you by a supervisor or you apply to it? So it depends. It's not necessarily you can do whatever you want. So the thing is that whatever you are working should generate revenue and should have monetary value, right? So there are two ways you can go about it. Either there is someone else who has done the market research for you and they come to you telling that, okay, this has value, and then you take that project up. Or this is specifically about my case. And the second way is once you are comfortable in the field, you can predict what would serve value to the customers that are out there, and you can propose a project on your end. This has happened both ways with me. That based on market requirements, I was told, okay, this is something that we need to build next, and this is something that we should build. In that scenario, I both accepted and rejected. Like I had both cases. Key in one case, okay, I understood that okay, this is the way I should. This is something that is actually giving value, so this should be done, and then I took it up. The other one, uh, because the projects or these things come from a not too technical person. Upon talking about it more, upon thinking about it more, sometimes you understand that okay, the amount of work that you put in does not give you the kind of benefits that are needed. So in those cases, I went back and told that okay, this is not something that should be done. And Now, on the first part, the projects that I work on in startup and small companies in CNN here, I have kind of end-to-end ownership, right from the design to even before the design, right from the defining and clarifying the problem statement to scoring about requirements and what actually needs to be done, to designing, to writing the code, and even the infrastructure part of things. uh, we have kind of end-to-end ownership. And even uh, since in CodeNation I was in the project was B2B, so we also used to have customer calls weekly to understand if everything was okay with them. Not in my current company because it's B2C.
Vineet Bhaiya, would you like to add something to this?
No, I think most of the points both Sarthak and Kunal have covered. Uh, yeah, I think uh, that's that's pretty much what I mean at Google also. I mean when I joined I was assigned a team, but when I changed my team again recently, and that time like Vishnu mentioned previously, there is a portal at Google where you can apply internally, and there you can it's more of like you choose the company where you want to work, right? And then when you join a team, the manager kind of assigns you the exact project where you work on, and then you start taking ownerships. I mean, first you start with a small, very small proposal, uh, and then you keep on building around it.
Thank you, Bhaiya. So now we would like to conclude the session with a piece of advice, a single piece of advice for from the three of you for all the juniors here. So we'll start with Kunal Bhaiya. Any words of wisdom for us?
Enjoy your days while they last. Uh, and do keep learning, do diving deep into things that you like, diving deep into solving problems, uh, and find what interests you and build upon that, because later on in life you might not want to be stuck in a place where you are doing what you're doing for the sake of you know doing it. Do things that interest you, build up your niche, and do a little bit of competitive programming on your site, like give a contest every month to be ramped up whenever either you switch out of whenever sit for placement, and even when you want to switch jobs. The first couple of rounds do ask for uh, the data section algorithms part. So do have always brushed up on it, even though you might not use them a lot in your day-to-day life. I mean, they're always there behind the scenes, but be a little bit brushed up apart from the if you have any other interests.
Sarthak Bhaiya.
Enjoy the days till they last. Again, the same piece of advice that Kunal Bhaiya said. Plus, don't get scared of doing new things and don't get scared of crossing the line sometimes because it's fun. And like it looks intimidating first, but it's fun when you cross the line. So don't get scared. Do whatever you like and yeah, just enjoy the college days, I guess. Play games and go out. I don't know, things that I missed during my COVID times. You should definitely do all the things. So yeah. And
Finally, Vineet.
people who are in first and just a second. People who are in first and second year can take advice from people in third and fourth year who were affected by COVID. So yeah.
And finally, Vineet Bhaiya.
Yeah, I mean, I have two pieces of advice, kind of. So the first one is, so in college, it's, I mean, I would say that you should not kind of lose your sleep over internship and job. I mean, obviously, in the end, when it gets, the companies, I mean, it's kind of when you come to January or February, that's when maybe you might want to take stress a bit. But I mean, eventually, I mean, now that we've graduated, we kind of know that eventually everyone ends up at a good place. So it's more of like enjoy and know that things will turn out well. And secondly, I would, I mean, so I think that exploring shouldn't stop, and that's not just for college. Even after, even when you're in a job, always be on the lookout and keep on building new skills. It doesn't hurt ever. And I mean, the learning shouldn't stop. So uh, have fun and just explore. That's kind of it.
And the final question from me to all of you three is: can I put this up on YouTube, the club's YouTube channel,
Mm.
with your permission?
Um, I am okay.
Yeah, should be fine, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the big tech guys are fine with it.
yeah. No, but I'm surprised that we have a YouTube channel too. So yeah, go for it. I think we are all good with that.
Yeah,
Thank you,
should be
Leah.
fine. Thanks, guys. Enjoy and have fun.
Bye.